Salutations everyone! So, throughout the span of Pokemon's 20 years, there have been various regions introduced that reflect a real-life counterpart, whether in a Japanese region or a region in the US or even France. They generally have a close resemblance to their counterparts, geographically and even culturally as well, at least to some degree. And with the new Pokemon games Sun and Moon being announced, there have been various speculation to what the new region is most likely based on from what information we were given. And in this video, I'm going to list 5 countries or regions in the world I anticipate in upcoming generations. And now remember, this is my opinion, and opinions are subjective. And with that being said, let's get right into this video. In my number 5 spot, I have South Korea. Or at least a part of it. Maybe the northern half of it. And I say this because different provinces or regions could be split up to make more room for other regions in Pokemon. Now, my reasoning for choosing South Korea is really based on the history of the country. With a long history comes a variety of possible Pokemon myths that could impact the gameplay, and with that comes cool Pokemon designs. And more episodes of Pokelink. Also, I'd like to add the superb contrast of modern architecture to the traditional Hanok villages and temples and whatnot. I think Korea could be an amazing inspiration for a Pokemon region. For my 4th spot, I have the United Kingdom. Yes. So Britain has a lot to offer in the regards of history, architecture, and landscape in general. Being home of one of the most popular and recognizable cities in the world, London could definitely be an interesting influence on the capital of this Pokemon region, rivaling that of Kalos' Lumiose City, really. And with that point being said, I would think that this region based on Britain could have a tie to Kalos' history, at least to some degree. Now another thing I would like to add is my bias. The United Kingdom to me is high on my list of favorite destinations, and I admire the landscape of this country greatly. And lastly, British humor is on point. So, what is a top 5 region list without something tied to Japan? Am I right? I mean, I guess I didn't have to add one because the first 4 are based and heavily influenced by regions in Japan already. So much in fact that the maps look almost identical to their real life counterparts. So, why would we need more? Well, personally, as a person who avidly researches Japanese history and whatnot, I generally look for connections in Pokemon games to history and culture. It's one of the things I enjoy most about Pokemon games, so I definitely would like a couple more regions influenced from Japan. And with only a few left, the number 3 spot will be the Tohoku region in the northern part of the main island, Honshu. The name Tohoku literally means northeast, and with its geography, it actually gets immense amount of snowfall in the winter months. Another significant aspect of this region is the natural geography of it, with stunning mountains and forests. Though in the regards of landmarks, it is not as concentrated as a few other regions of Japan, but it still has a fair share of them, from the Dewa Sanzan Mountains to Mount Asorore, not to mention important cities like Sendai. So I firmly believe that this area has much to offer and would translate perfectly to the Pokemon games. Lastly, there's a really good Japanese ROM hack called Pokemon Vega, and the region in it is based on the Tohoku region, and it is definitely brilliant. You gotta give it a try one day. Now that we're getting close to the number 1 spot, we're getting to the nitty-gritty part of this top 5. I'll go ahead and go straight to my point. In my 2nd spot, it would go to Germany hands down. Germany has a lot to offer, from intriguing mythologies to stunning villages and cities. This one is also biased in many regards, mainly because I was lucky enough to visit Germany last year in the fall, and I must admit, it was one of the most breathtaking countries I've ever been to. Now, to be fair, I only traveled in the Lower Saxony area, which is the northwest of the country. Nonetheless, the scenery was on a whole new level from what I'm used to. From the falling red leaves of the trees in the forest to the traditional German architecture in the cities and villages, it would arguably be one of the best settings to base a Pokemon region on. Also, with Germany being one of the most advanced and efficient countries in the world, innovating in various different fields, just imagine all the reference material that could be used. Like France, I think a German counterpart would complete the Pokemon franchise, so I really hope they choose Germany sometime in the future to base a region on. So, we're finally at the number 1 spot. The spot that we've all been anticipating, or at least the spot that I've been anticipating, I guess. So, drum roll please. So it happens that my number 1 spot goes to the Chugoku region and Shikoku regions in Japan. I'm sure some of you are shaking your heads, or aren't even surprised by this. And to be fair, if you watch my content, I wouldn't be surprised either. But hear me out. The Chugoku region is the southern part of the main island of Honshu. Directly south of it is the island of Kyushu, which happens to be the influence for the Hoenn region. Shikoku is also directly south of the Chugoku region as well, and is the smallest island of the main 4 islands in Japan. With the small size altogether, I would find the two sharing the same league if they were ever used in a future Pokemon game. Another important thing I need to state is the history of both regions, as well as important landmarks that I would at least like to see influence something. For instance, one of the oldest Shinto shrines hails from the Chugoku region, that of Izumo Taisha. This shrine complex is actually based on the oldest shrine architecture in Japan. Plus, in regards to Japanese mythology, this area is significant. So much, in fact, that this relative area is mentioned in the Nihon Shoki various times and is a setting for some of the stories. Not only that, I would love to see the Itsukushima Shrine Tori, or something similar tackled in the region, since it is one of Japan's most well-known landmarks. Plus, for Shikoku, it might be small, but it does have some important areas that they could include. And lastly, in my favorite ROM hack of all time, Pokemon Prokian and Deneb, the region in it is based on the Chugoku regions and Shikoku regions, and my goodness is the map superb. So, I really love to see these two in the future Pokemon games for sure. It's really high on my list. That was my top 5 most wanted regions in Pokemon. And remember, this is my opinion, and it's quite subjective. Now, I would definitely like to hear what your list is, so be sure to comment them down below. I read everyone's comments, so if you have any suggestions for future videos, go ahead and ask. Now, if you did enjoy this video, you can like and hit the subscribe button so you can be notified in the future for whenever I upload videos. I generally upload weekly. I'm trying to get to 2 videos a week, so if I get to that, that'd be great, but most likely I will be weekly. I will upload 1 PokeLink video a week. There might be some times when I might not get to it, but I will have a video up. So, with that being said, I'll catch you guys on the flip side.